We are up to the Flamet Cheso and Aleph. Just a quick synopsis of what we learned. We had that if an Eved was kidnapped and then people redeemed the Eved, depending what you redeemed them for purposes, for to be an Eved, remain an Eved, to be set free. So according to the Kambach, to remain an Eved remains an Eved, to be free, set free. According to Shimon Gamliel, regardless, always remain an Eved. And we had two opinions on how to learn the Gemara, Abaye and Rava. Abaye said it all talking about before years, and that's why there's an argument. The 4 years. So when you say he remains an Eved, we're talking about going back to the original Balabas. But if he said that he should go free, he goes free. Why does he go free? L'chayda, he belongs to the original Balabas. He goes free because otherwise nobody's going to be paid the shvuim. People say a yid you have to admit to pay the ransom before an Eved. Kanani, people didn't think it is. I'm sure the rule says benkach or benkach. Everyone knows it's a mitzvah, and there's no way. You try to come and say money will let parky that they're going to avoid paying the ransom. No, everybody's going to pay the ransom. So therefore, he goes back to the first owner. That's Abaye. A Rabbi comes along and says that it's all to do with after years. And Rabbi says that after years, the Tadakama says, well, if you want it to be an Eved, it becomes an Eved of the second person, because of the original owner abandoned hope. And if you want it to be person set free, it goes free. But according to Shimon Gamliel, we follow the line like a takana, because then Avadim will run away. Every time they don't like the first master, and it's too poor or too mean, they run away and they'll fall to another person, they'll take their chances. Can't be worse. So therefore, to avoid that, to stop that, well, you know what? No matter what happens, you always go back to you always remain in efforts to your original owner. Okay, says the Gemara. So the Gemara is now a different case. Amar Rabbi Shimon Abba, Amar Rabbi Shimon, about 12 lines at the top of the page. Rabbi Shimon, the son of Abba, says the name of what an interesting name, Rabbi Shimon, the son of Abba, in the name of Rabbi Yechon, Eved sheborach bebeis hasurim. If he fled from, he's taken by captors and he fled from them, and he's putting his life in peril because if they catch up with him, they might even kill him. Yaitzel lechedus. This person here actually is set free, goes free. Says the Gemara. Not only that, but we force the master to set him free, to give him a shtar shichanot. Even though he's free, his earnings belong to himself, but he cannot marry a Jewish woman yet because he's not a full-fledged Yid. In order to become a full-fledged Yid, the spiritual side of his emancipation needs to come from the Balabas. He has to write a get shichur. Like we know, there's a get shichur for an Eved, and that enables him to marry a Bas Chayrin. So the Gemara. Our Mishnah clearly says that regardless, even if they wanted to set the person free, the Eved remains an Eved because we don't want about him to lose liberally. The same Rabbi Yechon said, "Kol mokim sheshana Rabbi Shimon whenever is mentioned. A Mishnah halacha kemoised halacha is always like a respect, except in the case of an Arav or the case of an Arav, which is the guarantor of a tzidin. What happened to tzidin, which we'll learn actually in this. And the guy says, I have no more proof to best, whether you can come back later with some more evidence or not. Those three cases, the halacha is not like Rav Shimon. So according to Abaye, how can Rabbi Yechon contradict himself? Rabbi Yechon says, which means he always remains an Eved, and then he said, if you flee from prison, you go free. So according to Abaye, no problem. How Mishnah of Shimon was talking about before the original owner was abandoned hope. He's talking about after you abandon hope. So after you abandon hope, he was in prison and then he ran away. He set free. Fine. According to Rava, the Amar who says Rava says it's someone after Yush. Kasher Rabbi Yechon. And how come Shimon Mishnah says that he always remains an Eved? And here you say if you fled from prison, you go free. Rava says you're comparing a case of an Eved running away from prison to an Eved running towards the Goyim, get me out of here, and he wants to be taken captive so that another Yid will take pity on him and free him and set him free and ransom him. Time of my ambush of the Chizkiah. The whole reason why we made that condition of the Chizkiah was scared that abundantly will go to these bandits and so on. But when in the case where he's fleeing from these Goyim, there's no reason to make a takana. He's putting his life in danger. He wants to go away from the goyim. You're worried that he's going to go back to the goyim. Now that he's prepared to put his life on the line to flee from the goyim, you think he's going to go to the goyim to say, "I want to get my first master"? No way. So in this case, there's no reason for the takana, and that's when the same Rashim Gamliel would agree that he's set free. I'm saying the Mar Shmuel, the major Mar Shmuel, Ishtaboy, was once kidnapped. Porkua, the people in the town wanted to redeem her. They redeemed her, and they intended her to remain a maiden. Not that she should be set free, but she should continue being a maid. So the Gemara B'Shadrul, and they sent this woman to Shmuel back to her original owner. And they sent him a message. Anan, we hold like Rab Shimon ben Gamliel's field, we hold like Shimon ben Gamliel, they thought Shmuel did not abandon hope. So therefore, and the Gemara, you'll see the Shimon will say that they follow the view of Abai. They thought didn't have hope, and Allah Shimon ben Gamliel, that no matter what their intention was, she always goes back to original owner. But he said, you. Not sure what you hold, whether you hold like a Shimon or Chachamim. Even you hold like a Chachamim, but if our intention was to set them free, that can go free. Why? Because otherwise nobody will be paid to shvuyim by an Eved. I want you to know, I'm going to bond zirlach. We did not free or set her free in order to be free. Yeah, we want to go back to you. But the inus of their mistake was they thought that Shmuel did not abandon hope. Shmuel abandoned hope of recovering. He could have said nothing and kept it made, but he told he was honest. He told him, look, it was after Yair, she's free. Not only didn't he use her as a maid, but furthermore, in fact, he said you don't even need to get shikhr. Once you're free, you're set free. And why is that? Shmuel tamei. Shmuel is consistent with you. If you make Eved Hefker, if you make it ever hefker, she is set free. Or the maid or the servant. The ain't to get shikhr. If you let's say sell an Eved or something, you have to make it get shikhr. But if you make it hefker,
but if the evidence about das, how can they be affected so hefker? Like what, they created themselves from hefker?
If they're a god, they're a cotton, then whoever's called machzik ben zochem will have them babasa, will have them different places. That's whoever gets them first gets them first. But if you make him hefker, then you don't even need to get shikhr. Get shikhr is to enable this person now to be considered a full-fledged yid. You don't need that second stage because Mafka does that. Teshri wants to know, so why ever you need to get shikhr? Or no, whatever you do should be the same thing. So Teshri explains Hefker is different than a matana because Hefker, I'm walking away from this whole person. By matana, you're not walking away yet. You're transferring, so you have to give over completely. Mashengen, a Hefker, says Teshri, is that you're walking away from this person, therefore there's nothing left. And the person now is completely free. So anyway, right. How do I know? How does Shmuel know that once you make it hefker, you no longer need shashichr? Shenema. It says in the pasuk by Korban Pesach, Chol Eved Ish, the servant of a man, Mikna Kesef, that you purchase, which means an Eved Kanani, is what? You have to mal, otherwise circumcised, otherwise you cannot even Korban Pesach. Now, why is it Eved Ish? What's the difference in Ish or Ish of who the owner is? Everyone has to do Korban Pesach. Ish will Eved Isha. Eved Ish, Eved Isha. Eved Sheyesh this. An Eved that has a master who controls them, Kari Eved. Once the Mashal you made hefker, you no longer have the right now to make him work. And Kari Eved, no longer an Eved either. He's now a full-fledged sheep. That's where he learns from. When are you an Eved Ish? When you have a master. Ish of him means master. Master means I can tell you to go work for me. But the moment I made hefker, I can no longer tell you to work for me. So they're no longer an Eved either. I'm saying that Baba Bazutra, the maid of Baba Bazutra, Ishtaboy, was also kidnapped. Obviously, it was very common in those days that they get kidnapped for ransom. We'll see more later with how much money you'll even pay for ransom. All the rabbis discussed. Ishtaboy was kidnapped. Porka, who Tamadoyi, this goy from the nation of Tamadoyim, went and redeemed her. L'shum Itza, wanted to marry her. He redeemed. He wanted to marry her. Yeah. Same story, same place. Day, because I think we have it in the Gemara. These brachas.
Salesman of wood in the marketplace.
Yeah, but we had more brachas that there were certain places that surprising. They saw so much Torah around them, and now there was not one convert produced in their midst. Right before Perek, not one convert in the midst. I think Tamadoy is one of those cities. There's a woman, Tamadoy, who redeemed him to marry her. So right away, the Eden, they sent a message to Rabba today. If you want to do the right thing, shuttle get the cherus. She should not come back to you anyway. Make a set of free so that she can be a full-fledged Jew. Says what's going on here? They can redeem her. Let them just redeem her and set her free. What do you need a star shikhr from Rabba? And you'd lay multi-particle if they cannot. Let's say, remember from this time of day, if this time of day is willing to let her free, set her free, if we pay him the ransom that he paid out, then do that. And what do you get shicher from Ababa? You set her free and have in mind that she should be a free woman. And either loy multi-particle, if you cannot set her free, let's say the guy refuses to sell, what's going to help? So the Baba gives her a get chedison, but she's the wife of a Tamadoi who owns her now. What's the point? Yes, they could. The guy is willing to sell her and let them pay ransom. Or the kivin the mishad legita chedusa. The problem they couldn't raise the money because she was an evid, and people did not agree with her. Shrim Gamil said, "Oh, the mitzvah pidyon is the same." People felt she's an evid. Would have to, even though she was not a full-fledged yet. But kivin the mishad legita chedusa. If Abba would give her, set her free, and give her a get shichur, she's a full-fledged yid. Full-fledged yid. They'll be able to raise the money. They'll all go join together and they'll raise the money. Uparkel and set her free. That's one version. Or boy saying, but very interesting. Nope. The guy refuses to set her free. So you know how you get the guy to set her free? The moment they set her free, she's a yid. You think he wants to live with a Yiddish woman? Suddenly he looks down and despises her. And he'll say, you know what, you guys can have her. Pay me the money and take her back. I have a case in my shul. I have a couple Gate and the Geras. They became a Geras in the mid-60s. They're now Baruch Hashem in the mid-80s, but they became full-fledged Gerei Tzedek in the mid-60s. They're from Queensland. And so the wife tells me that she and her sister were so close. Every day on the phone, they used to call each other, talk to one called the other. All the years. After she went to the Geras, she didn't have her sister. She called her sister, doesn't answer the phone. Sister lived in Sydney, and they lived in Queensland, so they drove or flew from Queensland to Sydney. And she goes to her sister's house. And she said, "What's going on there? For over a month already, we haven't spoken every day in the mid-60s now." She says, "I don't like Jews." It's her sister. "I don't like Jews." So that's what happens here. Zilei, he'll set her free. Says the Gemara, we learn more about his other, which is not the gay here exactly the details. The Gemara has an expression there. Chavivu lehen behem t'shei Yisrael. A guy would rather commit bestiality with a Yiddish animal than you can't trust